I thought she was my friend, and then
my former partner became very verbally and emotionally abusive. The next day, they took all of my stuff out of the apartment and vanished, basically.
The last conversation I had with him was a heated argument. Connie was in the background saying, "Is he threatening you?" And the last thing he said to her is, "Shut up."
This gentleman over here is a scam artist. He's taking money from people.
I believe you just took it and then went and had a cigarette someplace and didn't do any work.
Plaintiff Vanessa Peters is suing the defendant for $2,613 for unpaid rent, utilities, and a security deposit. Defendant Kyra Gray claims she left the apartment after a week at the plaintiff's request. She says she owes nothing.
Do you swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
yes.
This is case number 153 on the docket, Peters versus Gray.
Welcome to both of you. What we have here is the plaintiff, Mr. Peters. You are suing your former friend, Kyra Gray, for $2,613 for unpaid rent, utility bills, and a security deposit. Why don't you tell me your story?
All right, well, I'm suing the defendant, Kyra Gray. I thought she was my friend, and then wasn't the case. We met at a party last year, and we hit it off instantly through our mutual love of skateboarding and music.
Yes.
I'm a rapper, she's a singer. I'm also transgender. She's bisexual, and we're both a part of the LGBT community. I figured that there was a no judgment zone. Our friendship lasted for about 6 months, and then we decided to move in together due to my previous living situation that kind of went south. We're supposed to move in with somebody that I was involved with at the time and somebody she also was involved with.
Two separate people?
Yes.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then in order for us to get the place together, we needed somebody's name to be on the lease other than mine. So we put Kyra's name on it. We moved in together, and things kind of went south. Her and her partner were arguing a lot and getting me in the middle of it, and I had nothing to do with it. And then after about a week, we thought it was best that she left, and she as well thought it was okay.
How long were you roommates before you left?
A week.
Oh, you were there a week.
week.
Okay. All right, let me hear your story.
Sure. Yes, we met at a party. We both had a love of music. Like he said, I'm a singer-songwriter, he's a rapper. We both love skateboarding. We're members of the LGBT community. So a few months go by, we're very good friends. I get a text from him that he's homeless. I immediately rush to the hotel that he's at, and I go and pick up my former partner, and we all stay at the hotel and try and come up with a plan to move in together. A couple weeks go by, we move in together. I sign the lease. So I lived there for about a week, and the first 2 days were fine. Everything was going great. Moved all our stuff in. Everything seemed fine. And then my former partner became very verbally and emotionally abusive. The next day they went to work. I got my mom. We took all of my stuff out of the apartment, and I vanished, basically. We hadn't really talked since, other than him asking for money. And I don't think I owe him any money because I lived there for 1 week. And he agreed that I should leave.
It was just toxic, and so I thought it would be best that she left. And then after she left, I asked her for the key. She was hesitant to give me the key back. She finally did, and then she said that she wasn't gonna pay me the money back for all of the security deposit and the renter's insurance and all that I had put money down for.
You know, you breached the agreement that we had already made.
Well, yeah, I just thought you should leave because at that point, the week that you were there was toxic, and you also thought that it was a good reason to leave. However, you still owed me money. About 3 months later, I went to her house with $100 for her to take her name off the lease. Her mom answered the door and told me that if I wanted to handle anything regarding the apartment with her, to take her to court. I have a copy of the lease. The only thing is both of our names are on the lease.
But if you are asking her to move out despite the fact that her name is on the lease, it's not reasonable to say, move out. You shouldn't be living here for good reasons, but still pay the rent.
All the money that I put towards the apartment, the security deposit and all that we all agreed that she was gonna pay me back, she never did. She said that she wouldn't. Her mom answered the door and told me that if I wanted to handle anything regarding the apartment with her, to take her to court.
He's only asking me for payment because, you know, my former partner skipped out on him.
That's not relevant. You can have any motive that you want to have. If there's an agreement, there's an agreement. On the one hand, you were a party to her making a decision to leave.
I thought it would have been best.
You thought it was best. You're
Because
not being criticized for that,
She
okay?
was causing problems.
But in
with me.
I'm talking now. You have some responsibility here.
Legally.
Even though you were just there for 1 week, even though it was toxic, even though he encouraged you to get out, you can't encourage someone to get out and then say, by the way, I want you to
just
pay the
asked her
rent.
to take her name off of the lease, and she refused to.
One of the reasons that her name doesn't get off the lease is because a landlord has to approve that, and if the landlord didn't think that you could afford the rent all by yourself, which seems to be what the case was, then the landlord isn't going to let another party get the name off the lease.
that wasn't the
That's not
case.
relevant to this.
They said that he had to be either approved by himself or get a co-signer before I could take my name off the lease.
And did you do that?
They told me that I either had to do that or I could sublease the apartment and get other roommates. That was my plan. But I couldn't have done that because they also told me that in order for other people to sign on to the lease, her name would either have to be off or she would have to approve of it.
The security deposit was,
The security deposit plus the move-in costs in total was $795. And I have the cashier's check right here for you.
I am going to hold you responsible for your share of the security deposit and the $100 to get your name off the lease and the $35.50 here for the renter's insurance. I am not going to hold you responsible for the rent. So I find for the plaintiff in the sum of $433.
I care about him. I will always care about him. I care about all my friends.
I do not think that we're going to remain friends after this.
Plaintiff Joe Mejia is suing his former friend for $1,000 for the remaining balance on a car purchase. Defendant Peter Franke claims the plaintiff has been harassing him and that he only owes the plaintiff $45, nothing more.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. This is case number 236 on the docket, Mejia versus Franke.
And welcome to the three of you.
Hello.
Let's see, we have the plaintiff, Mr. Mejia.
Yeah.
You are suing your friend, Mr. Peter Franke, for $1,000 for the remaining balance on a car that he bought from you. So I'll hear from you first, and then we'll come to you, okay?
Yeah,
Go
I'm
ahead.
asking for $1,000. I've known him for over 35 years.
You guys have known each other 35 years.
I love
Long
him like a
time
brother.
friendship.
I've paid his utilities to keep him and his family's lights on. I've paid his car
Okay,
registration.
you'll get a chance. You'll get a chance.
I was really reluctant of selling the car, but Pete knows how I take care of my vehicles and stuff.
Yeah.
And we made an agreement that his parents would pay $5,500 and Pete would pay the additional $1,500. And I said, if we're going to do this, we're going to sign a promissory note because you've not paid me in the past on things. The
Okay,
last
so let
conversation
me see some of
all
that that you have.
Last conversation I had with him was on the phone. It was a heated argument. Connie was in the background saying, "Are you going to is he threatening to sue you?" And the last thing he said to her is, "Shut up, I owe him money."
This is a promissory note signed on September 20th of 2018, and you promised to pay the sum of $1,500, 3 payments of $500 each, due and payable on October 24th, November 24th, and December 24th. Now, here on this, you also have that you received $500 in cash from him.
Yes.
So of the $1,500 that this note says he promised to pay you, $500 has in fact been paid back.
Yes, correct.
And that's why you're suing for $1,000.
Yes.
Now I got it. Okay, what is your side of the story?
I owe him $45. I have a text message to prove it, and I've got the $45 right here. You know, I love this man. I got a text message.
Yeah, it says here.
Yeah. Leave me alone.
I
It's
love you,
45.
Joe.
That's a message from his phone to mine. It's 45.
Pete was saying, I'm going to give you
You know,
50.
and
but
it's
he-
true.
But he
He's
put-
helped me. I've helped him. I love him. He was in my wedding. I picked, you know.
I didn't
God,
want him
it's
in the wedding,
ridiculous.
but he
He's
was.
throwing
Okay,
away a
so let him talk.
35-year
Pete doesn't know
relationship.
what he's talking
Okay,
about.
stop.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Okay.
I've got a text message to show
Well, let
that
me
it's
see
only
it. Let me see it.
$45.
He has paid him everything but $45.
So you're saying you paid him back everything but $45, which you brought with you here?
He's like a brother. I never had him sign something. I never made photocopies of the cash that I handed him.
In the past, he hasn't paid me.
You texted him back.
Yeah.
Says you're going to get the $5 balance of the promissory note. So leave me alone. $5 balance.
Yeah, that's not true.
But you answer him, it's $45. So,
Oh, yeah, all right. All right.
And see you soon. So, wait a second. You're admitting to him that it's $45 that is still owed, not $1,000. See, I was prepared to say, no matter how long your friendship was, if one of the friends asks you to sign a promissory note, that's a signal that documents are going to be involved here. So the obligation on you to prove that you pay him back when you pay in cash is a receipt. So I was ready to say, sorry, even if you did pay him back, there's no written evidence that you paid him back, so therefore he's getting the $1,000 or less, $45, $50. I was ready to give it all to him.
Right.
But now, all of a sudden, I'm presented with a text from you where you clearly say he only owes you $45 left.
Pete does not know because we go back and forth, we bicker and stuff.
I understand. I'm not saying you're a criminal.
Oh,
I'm
no,
saying that,
not at all.
No, of course not. I'm just saying when you guys have such a long friendship and you give cash back and forth to each other and do things for each other, that can be lost in the weeds. But what is not lost is the statement that he only owes you $45 more. Is that $45?
It is.
Give him the $45.
Oh, good.
Case dismissed.
Pete still owes me monies, you know, from the past and that, and sorry that it went this way. Maybe we can kindle the friendship, but who knows? That's really up to Pete.
My husband's a good man, and I think it went.
Time will tell.
And I want them to rekindle their friendship. So.
I love you, Joe.
I love him too.
Plaintiff Travis Mroski is suing for $588 for unpaid repairs to the defendant's jet ski. Defendant Dustin Griswald claims the plaintiff didn't actually do any repairs, so he doesn't owe him
Please raise your right hand.
anything.
Do you swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Sure, I do.
All rise. The Honorable Judge Jerry Springer now presiding. It's case 110 on the docket, Mroski versus Griswald.
Let me see here. We have the plaintiff, Mr. Mroski,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
and you are suing the defendant, Mr. Griswold, for $588 for unpaid repairs to his jet ski. Okay, why don't you tell me your side of the story?
Your Honor, to start with, I've been doing this 10 years, over 10 years. I have plenty of experience. The defendant brought the ski to me. He wrote a check. That's the check that he decided to stop payment on.
What is that you have there?
Right here is the CDI unit I replaced. This is the evidence. This is what came out of there.
Oh, that was in his jet ski.
Yes,
You
sir.
took it out. So
Yes.
obviously there's a new one in there.
Where was that whenever I asked him for parts, I asked him for a breakdown, he couldn't give me anything.
Here's also the carburetor parts, and you can clearly see.
Let me see.
Where was that
I'll
whenever
bring
I
this
asked
up.
for it? Where did you get these?
Did he ask for these parts and you didn't give them to him?
I do not recall, Your
We're
Honor.
under oath.
That's the original one that was replaced. That's the old one. Those
How do I-
carburetor parts in there are the old carburetor parts.
This is the old carburetor parts.
Yeah, you can clearly look at that diaphragm.
What I don't know is that they came out of his jet ski.
Well, they did.
This gentleman over here is a scam artist. He's taking money from people. I took my jet ski to his shop and I left it there for repair. A few days later, I got a call from him and he told me he needed to replace a control unit to get it running.
Okay.
So I agreed to that. He called me back a few days later and said it also needed a carburetor kit. So I agreed to it. I really want to get my jet ski going. It's hot in Texas.
It wasn't working at all.
It wasn't working at all. So
Was it a new one or?
No, it's a 1995 Kawasaki. I've had it for a few years and it's been sitting.
It's 24 years old.
It's 24 years old, Your
Turn them
Honor.
on to the judge.
Oh, there it is. And when you turned it on, nothing happened.
Right, nothing would work on it, and I wanted to take it to a reputable shop. I looked up online, found a place with great reviews,
Okay.
and I took it over there, and that's where I met him. When I went to pick it up, he didn't give me an invoice, he didn't give me a repair order, he didn't give me an itemized breakdown of what was replaced. Basically couldn't prove that anything was done. But when we walked outside, he showed me that it would start. So
apparently he'd done something.
Yeah, exactly. So he did do something, but we went in further and he started showing me what he did. He said he had replaced the spark plugs, and Your Honor, he did not replace the spark plugs, and that was my first red flag. Those spark plugs are original. You can see on the edge of them, they're marred up.
Did you replace the spark plugs?
I do not recall, Your Honor.
After that, I wrote him a check. It did start, so I wanted to pay him for what he had done. He told me he replaced an electronic control unit, and that electronic control unit, he said, was $250. I have evidence here that that was never touched. This is most definitely a 24-year-old control unit. Though if you can see on there, the bolts that hold the control unit in are extremely corroded and rusted, and it's never been out.
Looking at these bolts here, they do look corroded. They don't look like they have been changed. But what if he just took it out and fixed it?
That would have been fine, but that's not what he told me. He said he replaced it.
Why do you think his jet ski doesn't work anymore?
It left running. I have not heard anything.
Well, he said it was on for a few seconds, 5, 10 seconds.
Well, I started it, because if you let them run too long, you'll burn up stuff inside.
So you started, and then you took it home, and when you turned it on, it first started. Is it possible you left it on too long?
No, I know. I also know that. I'm a mechanic. I've been a mechanic. I worked for Porsche for 10 years.
Yeah.
I'm ASE certified. I don't really know if you're certified with anything, but I don't believe
Yes, Your
you
Honor,
are.
I'm certified with this. Everything was okayed by him. So nothing was done without his okay. Otherwise, I wouldn't have done it.
I don't believe he's a scam artist, like he just hangs around a shop and doesn't do things. I mean, I
mean, I could give you professional references.
But I'm not even going there. I'm assuming there are two good people here. You wanted your jet ski fixed. You, in good faith, gave him $588 to fix it. There was certainly miscommunication because he believes, and he's apparently right with the spark plugs, that they weren't replaced. What it says to him, as any person would say, you go get something fixed and suddenly he comes home and now all of a sudden it's not fixed again, and then you notice something that wasn't exactly as had been said, so all of a sudden he becomes suspicious. He doesn't know any other way to deal with it, so he stops payment right away. The decision I have to make right now is what amount of money should be paid. I believe you did some work. I don't think you just took it and then went and had a cigarette someplace and didn't do any work. So I believe that.
No, I also put 5 gallons of gas in, drained the old stuff.
Okay, I believe you did something. But I can only go on what is provable evidence up here. I have to make a judgment. When you go to any place to buy something, you pay for the service, the labor costs, and you also pay for the result, for the performance. So you are entitled to be paid something for the labor that you put in. But he comes to you with the expectation that for that amount of money, you're going to be able to fix it. So you're entitled to be paid for what work you did, and say judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $250.
The guy's a liar. He's not obviously a boat mechanic. He doesn't know how things work. I think that a lot of people just go off the talk. So
I don't think that he should be doing this repair on jet skis for other people because I feel like he takes advantage of people that don't know what they're talking about.
Thanks for watching. Now please approach the bench. The way I look at it, you have 2 options here. Option A, watch more Judge Jerry. Option B, watch more Jerry Springer. The choice is yours. Now get out of my courtroom. You have more clips to watch. And don't forget to subscribe.